So, interesting tweet. Follow Tim Burgess from the Charlatans on social media. And there was one that popped up this morning. It said, "Big thanks to @Henry Winter, whose voice could be heard on mine and Gary Neville's intro at Kendall Calling." He says a few people were asking who it was, and there's a little video attached. That's quite intriguing.
Okay.
Henry Winter. Let's find out a bit more about it. Henry joins us now. Good afternoon, Henry. You joined a rock and roll band by the sound of it.
Well, I think they were trying to get Henry Winkler and the Fonz. I think they just got it all mixed up. But no, I got this this message during the Euros out in Germany, and it just said Kendall Calling, and I thought, oh, Felicity Kendall Calling. This is, I'm definitely going to react to this. But I've met Tim. Obviously, I know Gary through football, but I've met Tim. He very kindly, when I was a very ingenue DJ at the Albert Hall once, not the main stage. Tim was there. And he was just ridiculously helpful. I mean, just so kind to a complete novice like me on the decks, as we call it. And I mean, he's obviously a massive Manchester United fan and sort of stayed in touch. So absolutely happy to help him. And disappointingly not Felicity.
I didn't know that.
Didn't know you'd been a DJ.
Henry. Your career.
I mean, 99% is football, obviously, as with most people. But I'm sort of allowed a few minutes off. No, it was just I can't remember what it was. It was a charity fundraiser that Tim and the Charlatans were involved in, and I think they just they had amateur hour, and I thought I was invited along, and I mean I was on stage and I had the headphones on, and my daughter, who's a very good dancer, she danced up onto stage and put the headphones on and said, "There's no music coming out of it." And I said, "Well, I don't know what button to press." So I was a complete amateur, but anyway, it was happy to help Tim with Kendall Calling, which is, I mean, looks an amazing. I've not been, but it started with like 900 people 20 years ago, and now it's sort of 40,000 selling out in ages in advance. So good luck to
Is it a silent disco? Is that what it is? No.
No, I don't think so.
This is a music festival.
Yes.
Oh, this is a music festival.
It's a music festival, yeah.
Yeah, it's called Tim Peaks, and it's Kendall Calling. And I mean, the bands they've had down the years, I mean, Public Enemy, Happy Mondays, Kaiser Chiefs, so it's nice to see Leeds and Manchester United in harmony. I think they've had the Manics a couple of times. I mean, it's serious stuff. It's not quite Glastonbury, but it's up there.
Yeah. Now, I saw you writing today on social media about Conor Gallagher and
sorry, Andy.
A strange move this is for Chelsea.
It's pathetic, isn't it? We all know, when you look at somebody's just put his numbers up. He's first in everything for Chelsea. First tackles, assists, yards covered, every stat that counts.
All the metrics.
So the idea, this misinformation they've put out about, he's not suitable for Maresca's system, it's pathetic, isn't it? It really has turned the fans right off.
Well, I'll tell you what, anyone who's watched Leicester City and Maresca, and I live near King Power, and obviously speaks to a lot of Leicester fans, they will tell you that his type of play will take a little bit, if he's going to get Reece James to start stepping into midfield, or Malo Gusto, when certainly Reece James does his best work down the flank, it'll take a little bit of time. But absolutely with Conor Gallagher, look, he's not an elite level top of the range Champions League world class midfielder. No. But he gives you absolutely everything. You talk about his first for everything. I bet he's first in at training. He is just so committed to Chelsea. He's a Chelsea fan, and every club needs one of their own. You absolutely you miss that. And Andy, you'd know better than I would. But who is going to be your captain? Say if Reece James is not fit, and everyone's hoping he has a fantastic fit season, is it going to be Ben Chilwell possibly?
No, because he's out of favour as well.
Well, there you go.
But I can't stand managers that are a slave to a system. I just find it so tedious. Football's not about that. It's about, keeping the players happy. It's about individual players. It's about skills. It's about fitness. But, yes, it is about systems, but not so totally wedded to it that you start saying, well, he's not right for my system. You think, oh, shut up. Really?
Well, I didn't understand why Pochettino left. But if you look at the end of the season, you know better than I would. Conor Gallagher was bringing the best out of Moises Caicedo because Enzo Fernandez was injured, unfortunately, but actually it seemed like a good blend. Obviously, the owners and I assume the new manager will want Fernandez and Caicedo to work, and they're both sort of elite level players. But sometimes you just need a little bit of that grit alongside the sort of the elegance as well. And I feel for the fans on this because it's almost like a statement of what you want doesn't matter. I mean, I was at that game towards the end of the season, and I'm sure you were there when the fans in the corner of the shed actually had the Conor Gallagher, that huge banner, that tifo up for him, and it was quite sort of poignant. A, because they were showing their support, and he gave them a slightly self-conscious wave before the start, but also it had he was wearing the armband in that, and leadership is so important, particularly with the new manager and players settling in. So yeah, I feel for him. You know what? He'll probably go and do brilliantly at Atletico, and then come back to Manchester United for 70 million.
Yeah, the fans are an inconvenience for these people. You know, really, honestly, it's got nothing to do with football. All this, it drives me mad.
Let's move on to England, Henry. And you wrote a fine book on England back in the day. 50 years of hurt. The hurt continues, sadly. But it's going to be quiet on the England manager front. I don't know if we were expecting some fairly quick movement on this. I mean, it looks like Eddie Howe's staying at Newcastle, but who knows? There's been a few stories suggesting it's Graham Potter's if he wants it. Lee Carsley's still there. So what's the latest as you understand it?
I don't think there is any latest. I mean, all I know is that the official applications, ended at sort of close of play on Friday to the Football Association. I think Lee Carsley will be put in charge of the Republic of Ireland game, ironically, him being a former Irish international, Birmingham born, for the first two games. I mean, in a way, the FA probably look around the world and see under-21 managers stepping up, you know, whether caretaker level or longer term. You see it with Argentina, sort of obviously with Spain most successfully with De La Fuente. So maybe they don't feel sort of particularly hurried on that front. Personally, I think it should be Eddie Howe, but Newcastle quite rightly want to hold on to him. I just think he's got that authority. He would be more decisive in key moments than Southgate was, certainly in 2 of the last 4 tournaments. So, but yeah, Graham Potter is there. You know, he's FA approved. You can see him sort of stepping in. But you know, we've got some fantastic players. You look at the players we've got. I don't need to tell you that. You know, you see them at club level. You see them in the Premier League. We've got some fantastic players, and we just need the right person, appropriately in Olympic week, fortnight, to get them over the line.
Good stuff. Henry, thanks very much. We'll catch up with you soon.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons 1 till 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.